All right, so the New England Patriots decided to sign Stefon Diggs, and listen, there's a lot of talk about, is it too much money? There's the whole is he a locker room cancer stuff? Which how do we know? We're not in the locker room, right? But then there's the other question, which is just, is he still good? And that's a question we can answer. So let's get into it. That's what we're going to talk about in today's video is what does he still bring to the table for the New England Patriots? And, well, he does a lot of things I like. Like, for example, this is a small thing, but he's the one who I've circled in white right there. It's going to be, actually, they're going against the Vikings, so they're showing a cover 0 here. And so the Houston Texans are just going to simply run a wide receiver screen. As you see, so Stroud takes the snap, quickly gets the ball to Diggs, and so far, going smoothly, right? But there is a Vikings player who's running over and making a tackle. This is kind of the gamble that Minnesota is going with here. Sure, you can run a screen pass, but hopefully our guy can just come up and make a tackle before you get the first down at the 40-yard line. However, Diggs is able to fight forward, able to get the first down right there. Again, he's an effective player who can definitely do things like this. You can run plays through him, and he can succeed. There is that. I do think the best thing about Diggs is his route running. Like, for example, this play where what's going to happen is it's going to be a zone coverage play. I'm not going to tell you what route he's running just yet. Just going to have you watch him. So you see where he is on this play. He's the one I've circled in white. This play begins, and so far, so, good. I mean, you still don't really know what he's going to be doing at this point, right? But right now is when he's going to cut in a specific direction. Watch, he decides to cut more underneath. Really good job by him to, again, kind of on a dime, cuts to where that Minnesota player in the area is just playing too far off right now. So sometimes when you see watching on film, you're like, man, why did that defensive player play so far off? A lot of times it's due to good route running. A receiver kind of faking as though they're doing one thing and in an instant doing something else. But also watch how he stops, which allows, kind of comes back to the ball, and he essentially jukes out Stephon Gilmore before he gets to the ball, which is also pretty clever, picks up even more yards. So yeah, he is capable of doing this, finding ways to get open. And it can work in plays like this as well, where it's going to be kind of a similar thing right here, where what's going to happen on this one is it's a zone coverage play. Once again, you see the route he's running, right? You see how he's going more over the middle right here. Stroud is going to take the snap. He's going to ultimately look in Diggs' direction. Diggs is, again, not showing what he's doing just yet, right? He's completely just going straight up towards the top of the screen, or I should say towards the left side of the screen, further away from Stroud. But then he cuts towards the top of the screen, and again, that smooth cutting gets open so quickly, Minnesota just doesn't have a chance to react because of how well he can move, and this is definitely something that, he relies on. You also have something like this, where what's going to happen is on this one, it's a similar play, but actually I wanted to show this one because it's a little bit different. And why is it different? Well, okay, on paper, it's relatively simple. Just try and get into a gap in coverage over the middle. Okay, simple enough. However, when this play begins, as of right now, you see this is kind of a lottery situation where that over the middle section isn't just open, it's wide open. And it would be really tempting for Diggs to kind of turn around almost now, be ready for the ball quickly, but Diggs is going to be a little bit more patient. Watch how he still runs out the route going forward until he then stops and then is able to pick up the first down. Had he turned around earlier, that could have signaled to the defense, hey, we got to get over there and stop him. But the fact that he didn't do that, it allows him to get open. So again, it's just smart football playing that allows Diggs to get open so consistently, and part of what I think he will bring to the Patriots, because let's just be honest, they don't really have a guy who's like this, a guy who's consistently winning, consistently getting open. A play like this is something that they could really use a guy that a guy can do, where you see Diggs on this play. Once again, it's the Brian Flores showing a cover 0 thing. So, okay, that's what's happening. You have this one-on-one matchup. Diggs is going to start this route. And again, you see him kind of faking as though maybe he's going over the middle. That's what it looks like he's going to do, which is a route you will do in this situation. But then he actually just stops, and he would have gotten wide open had that pass not gotten out of his hand, out of Stroud's hands, basically immediately, which is kind of what he had to do. But again, it's just those little things that for the Patriots, they will really appreciate having a guy who can do. This play is another one where it's going to be it's actually a zone coverage concept right here. So the player who's lined up against him isn't going to follow him the whole play necessarily, but still, I mean, you're a defender right here. He knows that there is a receiver closer towards the top of the screen and only one defender kind of shallower towards that direction. So he still has an idea of, where he might have to cover going up against Diggs. Again, though, Diggs, showing, at first, okay, what is he going to do? Which way is he going to cut? You can't tell right yet what he's going to be doing. And then he cuts on a dime. The Minnesota player is too late in getting over there, and it results in a first down. Diggs actually does a pretty good job after the catch as well. Obviously, he has one very famous play where he ran after the catch, but in general, he does a very good job of that stuff as well. So ultimately, whether you think this is an elite wide receiver or just a very good wide receiver, at least as of the last time we've seen him, he's been very good. Ultimately, what do we do with all of this? How good of a player is Stefon Diggs still at this point in his career? That's the first question that I wanted to answer. And, at least the last we saw him, I thought he was pretty good. I don't know if he was elite, Stefon Diggs. We have seen him have, 1,500-yard seasons with the Bills. He wasn't quite that guy. I think that's fair to say. But he was still a really effective player, and again, was in a new situation, a new team, which he will be again in New England. But that does take time, and maybe if he got a full year, then towards the end of the year, he would have started to play better. That's possible. The other question is just, is this the right move? You need Drake May to be good, and is paying for a guy in Stefon Diggs, it's a bit of a gamble. You don't know how he's going to be. He is coming off of a torn ACL, which, again, I know we all kind of view ACLs as they're pretty good at, people got pretty good at coming back from torn ACLs, but not all the time. There are times when you come back from an injury like that and just aren't quite the same. Is this one of those situations? There's only one way to find out, and that's to watch him play next year. So is it worth the risk for that? And then, of course, there is the, is he locker room cancer stuff, which who knows, right? But ultimately, they needed to do something. And the reality is, yes, Chris Godwin would have been a better pick. Chris Godwin didn't want to go there, even when they tried to sign him a blank check. What are you going to do, right? You had to add somebody. And while I don't know if this is the most ideal situation and most ideal player and all of that stuff, you did get a good player. And the other thing, too, is I know the contract looks big, but I think part of why it looks big is because of the lack of guaranteed money. Only $26 million guaranteed. It's more or less a one-year deal with 2 club options is a way to look at it. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens with all of this, but should be interesting. Ultimately, I'm not going to be someone who disagrees with adding a receiver to help out your young quarterback. So, yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on all of this. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching. Hey, thanks for watching to the end of that video. I do appreciate it. If you want to see my other channel, Jackson Kruger Movies, where I talk about movies, give some film reviews and stuff like that of a different kind, if that seems like your kind of thing, the link is in the description below for that, as is the link for my Twitter account. I'm at Jackson Kruger, so give me a follow on there if that's your kind of thing. And also, of course, remember to hit the subscribe button on this channel. I do always appreciate it. And thanks again for watching to the end of the video.